good morning again, and welcome to today's eKasiLabs Stakeholder Engagement. My name is Matsi Modise. I am an entrepreneur first. I'm an entrepreneurship activist and proudly a board member of the Innovation Hub for a couple of years. I would love to acknowledge our wonderful guests that are here this morning. We are delighted to be joined by our honorable member of the Council, MEC Pakstau, welcome, we welcome you. Chairpersons and colleagues from the GGDA, welcome. Our esteemed chairperson and board members of the Innovation Hub, CEO of the Enterprise, Gauteng Propeller, I think he will be virtual today. Our executive team from the Innovation Hub, and all our other very important stakeholders this morning, the community of Soweto and our entrepreneurs. A very, very warm welcome. I'd also like to welcome those who are joining us virtually. It's wonderful to actually be attending something where we can have blended events. Of course, it would be lovely if I could see everybody's lovely smiles, but of course we have to acknowledge COVID protocols. I'm also very excited today because we're always in board meetings discussing how we're going to empower and embrace innovation. How are we going to empower our entrepreneurs in townships? But today, it's time to walk the talk. It's time to showcase what we are about. It's time to showcase the talent that exists in this wonderful township called Soweto. And the theme of today, it's quite an interesting one, a very important one, a very valid one, is government driving township economic revitalization strategy as a vehicle to address challenges that are faced by township entrepreneurs. We know the challenges, but equally we know the opportunities. And we know that it's time for us to now start taking our space where society wants us, the innovators, the creators, the entrepreneurs that are coming out of townships. No better time than now. Our program will be very brief because of COVID. We can't be here the whole day as much as we'd love to be. We're going to have a welcome by our CEO, a keynote address by MEC Pakstau, panel discussion, which is going to be a comprehensive discussion with various stakeholders that are very, very invested in ensuring that township entrepreneurs do thrive. And then we're going to do a walkabout and exhibitions. It's time for us to be able to showcase who we are as a hub, who we are as an innovation hub, and to show the good work we're doing in our community. Before we start the program, we're going to run a couple of videos about eKasiLabs, about the Innovation Hub. So Madonna and team, could we get the cameras rolling?
To look at a challenge and see a solution requires a mind that can look at problems and see hope. A better way. A new approach. An idea, no matter how important, can't reach its full potential if left alone. That's why we provide those who look beyond problems with the help they need to turn their potential into action. To serve as a catalyst for knowledge interactions that transform emerging ideas into economic opportunities. That's why we guide today, so that you can build tomorrow. The Innovation Hub, a subsidiary of the Gauteng Growth and Development Agency. Find out more at theinnovationhub.com.
eKasiLabs is an extension of the Innovation Hub service offering in townships. These labs are innovation facilities spread across the 5 economic corridors in Gauteng, where we foster and cultivate a culture of innovation and entrepreneurship.
We have 4 major service offerings that we provide for eKasiLabs. The first one is access to infrastructure, where we allow entrepreneurs to use hot desking space and also to have free Wi-Fi connectivity. The second one is access to advisory and skills development, and that's where we assist with IP management as well as allocation of mentors, which is business as well as technical. The third offering is access to markets, where we introduce our entrepreneurs to private as well as public sector and networking opportunities. The last service is access to funding opportunities. We have a small fund, however, we also leverage from our partners for a bigger fund.
We joined the eKasiLabs because of a wide range of reasons in terms of access to market, business model, canvas, and being able to basically push our idea or business to newer and better industries. We develop and build customized asset tracking solutions for businesses. So if you want to know where your assets are, how they are being used and or abused, we are there to solve those issues. The most proudest achievement was when we received a contract for a company that required for them to use our technology, not only in South Africa, but the SADC region, also including Qatar, the UK, Egypt, and Mexico. So basically taking our technology beyond the borders of South Africa.
The program is focused on entrepreneurs based in Gauteng townships, with emphasis on innovation solutions with potential to impact different spheres of society, such as business, government, and civil societies.
In 2014, the Gauteng government pronounced the Township Economy Revitalization Strategy. And as part of that strategy, we wanted to uplift the economy of townships specifically. The role of the Innovation Hub in that regard, in that strategy, is then to promote a culture of innovation. And we wanted to create sustainable businesses through innovation and through our incubation programs that we offer as the Innovation Hub. And we then established eKasiLabs throughout the townships in Gauteng. Currently, we've got about 10 townships, and those townships are situated in the municipal areas. We've got 5 municipalities in Gauteng, 3 metros and 2 districts. So in each of them, we've got 2 eKasiLabs. So that's the 10 eKasiLabs that we've established. So we foster and we create an innovation space for township entrepreneurs.
We manufacture cold pressed juices which assist people with the healthy living. So we joined the Innovation Hub eKasiLabs in order to enhance our business. They're actually offering us a lot of assistance in terms of mentorship. They're also providing us with access to market, and also they do provide some financial assistance, as I've also benefited from the SSP program, which helped me to get the equipment that we use to manufacture our product.
In Lua Freak, we're a company focused on hygiene. We've developed toilets that come ready with a hand wash facility. Our toilets allow the user to do their number 2, flush and wash their hands, all at the same time, saving water and improving hygiene. We equally have urinals that allow the user to pee, flush and wash. We have won the Gauteng Accelerator Township program, and that propelled us with an amount of 300,000 for us to be able to acquire molds for our products for the P-Basin urinal unit and the loo cap, which we currently use on 2 of our toilet products, the V-System toilet and the EvoFlush toilet, allowing the users to use the toilet and wash their hands at the same time.
Our innovation is manufacturing of shoes which are made in leather, but differently from the normal leather that we know. We use virgin leather, which is naturally tanned, free from chemicals. Our main focus is servicing the ladies which have problematic shoes, problematic feet, which are caused by medical conditions such as bunions, arthritis, and corns. These shoes are mainly comfortable, soft, and durable. So far we have benefited a lot. We have managed to secure contract from Technicons, TVET colleges, which is one of them is Mamihlake TVET College, whereby they want us to manufacture shoes for them. They also want us to transfer the skills of making shoes to their colleges.
In order to ensure that our incubatees are succeeding, there are a number of steps that we take them through. The first one is selection into the program. The second one is needs analysis. In the past, we used an assessment called Growth Wheel, and right now we are using a business plan where it actually articulates exactly where are the gaps as we assist this company. The third thing that we do, we allocate mentors. It can be a business or a technical mentor. From there are a number of activities that we undertake during this process, such as training, networking, as well as access to funding.
My innovation is bringing digital broadcast into the community. So anyone who wants to start an online radio station or a digital TV station, I can organize it for them quite easily. Beyond the monetary funds that we've received from the Innovation Hub, I think just collaborating and meeting other entrepreneurs who are doing great things.
To date, there are 10 eKasiLabs centers across the 5 corridors of the Gauteng city region. The future looks bright for township entrepreneurs in Gauteng.
Isn't that amazing? Can we give them a warm hand of applause? Inclusive, sustainable innovation, it's all about that here at the eKasiLabs and at the Innovation Hub. I'm so happy, I'm so excited to see the development. I'm so happy and excited to see all the innovation that's coming out of our townships. To give us an opening address, I would like to call Advocate Peter Hall. And he's going to give us the opening address. Advocate, could you join us on the stage?
Thank you, Program Director, Ms. Matsi Modise, who is coincidentally also a board member of the Innovation Hub. So I'm only going to do a welcoming address, and the MEC will deliver a keynote address. MEC, Mr. Parkstel, MEC for the Economic Development, Agriculture, Environment and Rural Development, the Acting Head of the Department of Economic Development, Ms. Dawn Robertson, who's joining us virtually, the Chairperson of the Gauteng Growth and Development Agency Group Board, Mr. Ernest Maslahule, and the GGDA board members, the Innovation Hub Chairperson, Dr. Tshilitsi Ratsitanga, and the board members who are joining us and virtually, the Group Chief Executive Officer of the Gauteng Growth and Development Agency, Ms. Mosa Chabalala, the CEO of the Gauteng Enterprise Propeller, Mr. Saki Zamkaka, who will be joining us virtually, executive managers of the department, the MEC's office, and all agency staff represented here today, the important people, the representatives from Township Economy Revitalization, our eKasiLab entrepreneurs, as you could have seen on the recording we did, and all those actors are not actors, they are real entrepreneurs. So both videos that we did, MEC, are real entrepreneurs and staff of the Innovation Hub. Then our TIH staff, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor and privilege to welcome you this morning to this session looking at government driving township economy revitalization strategy as a vehicle to address challenges that are faced by our township entrepreneurs. And we all know those challenges. And that's why we as the Innovation Hub, we were established through a partnership between the CSIR, which is a Council for Scientific and Industry Research, the Gauteng provincial government, and the University of Pretoria well back in 1999, specifically to support sustainable development, improve the competitiveness of the Gauteng province, improve and promote economic development, and importantly, through indigenous information and communication technologies and ventures using a science and technology park. So the Innovation Hub is a science and technology park. We're not just a hub, we are a science and technology park, as we have highlighted in this video. So since the establishment of the Innovation Hub and its registration with the International Association of Science Parks, we were the first African country to be a member of the International Association of Science Parks. Currently, there's about 600 science parks registered through this international body. So we were the first on the African continent, and our mandate was to ensure that other African countries also establish labs. So we've assisted Botswana, Eswatini, Abuja in Nigeria, Konza City in Nigeria, in Algeria. So in Africa, we've got about 14 innovation hubs through our membership of the Association of Science Parks that they also registered. The Innovation Hub, as we've indicated, is a wholly owned subsidiary of the Gauteng Growth and Development Agency, and we support all the strategies, mandates, and outcomes of the Gauteng provincial government. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to share with you just a little bit about the eKasiLabs program. The eKasiLabs program is an initiative that was established in 2014 with the aim of promoting the culture of innovation and entrepreneurship in Gauteng townships, with a specific focus on new innovative outcomes in our communities. The eKasiLabs provides business development support to our startups in the Innovation Hub priority sectors. We've got 3 priority sectors, which is the bioeconomy, focusing on health, that is your diagnostics, your medical stethoscopes, and the agro-processing, smart agro-processing. Then we also focus on the green economy, water, waste, and energy, and we focus on the smart industries, which is your ICT and your advanced manufacturing. Those who will be able to do a tour later will also see our advanced ICT facility where we are able to assist township entrepreneurs in the 4IR innovative ideas. Significant participation and inclusion of the people in the township into the mainstream economy positively impacts on the growth and development of the Gauteng province. And the eKasiLabs program is centered around providing township innovative entrepreneurs with the business support to make sure that they are able to innovate and be able to provide it with the opportunity to scale up their businesses. So we just don't want to create a business and say, there's your business. We want to help you grow. And we want you to help you make an impact. And that's what we want to see as the Innovation Hub through our shareholder, the MEC. In order to create an enabling and supportive environment for township business and entrepreneurs to thrive, the eKasiLabs program service offerings have focused not only on providing access to working infrastructure, but also offer a range of capacity development interventions such as business mentorship, business and technical skills training, networking opportunities, and assistance to access to markets.
I would like to take this opportunity to thank the MEC, specifically the Gauteng Growth and Development Agencies and the TIH Management Boards, the Group CEO, and the Gauteng Department of Economic Development, and all our local and international strategic partners who have been instrumental in the success that we have attained as the Innovation Hub. Thank you to all for taking the time to join us today. A special word of thanks to all our township-based entrepreneurs and our township-based incubated companies. We are really looking forward to having more engagements such as these to ensure that we keep abreast with the initiatives of the Innovation Hub, as well as the developments in the innovation and entrepreneurship ecosystem. I'm looking forward to what I believe will be a robust, fruitful panel discussion under the theme Government Driving Township Economy Revitalization Strategy as a vehicle to address challenges that are faced by township entrepreneurs. I thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure now to introduce our keynote speaker, MEC Park Stau. Mr. Park Stau is the Gauteng MEC for Economic Development, Agriculture, Environment and Rural Development. Mr. Park Stau is the former Deputy Minister of the Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, what we know as COCTA, where he served from 29 May 2019 until 2nd December 2020. He made his mark as a leading advocate of local government in South Africa, Africa, and across the globe, serving as the president of the world body United Cities and Local Governments, as well as the president of the South African Local Government Association, the SALGA. He's a former executive mayor of the city of Johannesburg, wherein he drove the spatial and socio-economic transformation agenda to create sustainable opportunities for communities in the metropolitan municipality by confronting past injustices as well as present and future challenges. A seasoned local government practitioner who has over 20, I guess it's even more now, MEC, 20 years experience. Mr. Tau, the MEC selflessly served in various local government portfolios in Johannesburg that include development planning, transport, environment, economic development, and finance. He also currently serves as the elected ANC Gauteng Treasurer, born in Orlando, West Soweto, and having been exposed to the brutal injustices of apartheid in the township as a teenager. Mr. Tau took a decision to join the Congress of South African Students in pursuit of liberation and social justice. His activism and commitment to liberalization cause saw him elected the president of the Student Representative Council at Commercial College in Soweto, followed by the presidency of the Soweto Youth Congress, and later a leading member of its subsequent incarnation, the ANC Youth League. Post-1994, Mr. Tau continued to be elected into roles that enabled him to help build a united and equitable South Africa. These roles included being the regional secretary of the ANC in the Greater Johannesburg region and serving on the Southern Metropolitan Local Council Urban Development Committee. He went on to serve as a member of the mayoral committee in the city of Johannesburg after the first democratic elections. At the city in 2000, he subsequently became the executive mayor in Johannesburg in 2011. Mr. Tau has also led as the co-chairperson of the United Nations High-Level Independent Panel, which was established and concluded in 2017 to improve the effectiveness of the UN Habitat, a human settlements and sustainable urban development program. Furthermore, he is a board member of the World Resources Institute, Ross Center for Sustainable Cities, and a former chairperson of the South African Cities Network. MEC, I can go on. I also have my own history that I can add. But on this note, MEC, I thought it's prudent that we show the community and we show our colleagues the history and the background of our MEC, who leads this organization, who's the shareholder, who guides us, who keeps us on our toes, and gives us the strategic direction. Ladies and gentlemen, MEC Parks Tau.
Okay, thank you very much, Peter. At some point, I thought that the introduction will be longer than the speech, which is very likely. I should admit it made me feel a bit old. I still want to consider myself relatively young, but I think, where's Lois? So we must amend that profile that we have done. It's a bit long and makes me feel old. The chairperson of the GGDA and chairperson of the Innovation Hub and your respective CEOs, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. I left my speech behind because I thought that the video and Peter's presentation did justice to what I was supposed to say. So I thought, maybe let's leave the speech behind because there's a risk that I'm going to repeat what has already been said and speak from the heart. Firstly, to say to Peter, I suspect part of the intention today is to convince me that the eKasiLabs really do exist. Because it's a discussion we've been having about, so where are these eKasiLabs? What do they do? And what impact are they making? And one of my contentions with the colleagues in the department has been that I have a problem with the notion that when it gets to the township, it becomes small, micro, and medium. I have a problem with the notion that township-based enterprises should be a miniature version of enterprise development throughout the country. So when we do talk about creating eKasiLabs as an extension of the Innovation Hub, it shouldn't be that the intention is for them to remain small. It should be that it is about creating access to innovators and entrepreneurs that are township-based, which platform enables them to grow and become big. And the challenge to the entrepreneurs is to also think beyond the small. To think beyond the notion that when we're based in the township, ours is to be small enterprise. and not to be ambitious. So in the broad scope of areas that Peter referred to, in terms of the innovation hubs, priority focus areas, we should look at these and the eKasiLab as a conduit to enter into these markets. And if I may be deliberate in disrupting these markets and creating access to opportunity for township-based enterprises. And we should challenge both public and private sector institutions to engage more with township-based enterprises. So one of the discussions we are having in the department is, how do we get to a point of aggregating township-based enterprises to become key suppliers of our own needs and demands as a government? You know, one of the most logical things is there's an industrial park that's been established here. It hasn't grown. I mean, I think we built the empowerment zone in 2014, 2013, and it hasn't grown, which is on its own a challenge, because it suggests that we're not leveraging off the opportunity that's been created. But if you think about it, we as the Gauteng provincial government have opportunities a few kilometers, in fact, is it even a kilometer, which is the Chris Hani Baragwanath Hospital. Now the question becomes, who supplies medical equipment to Chris Hani Baragwanath Hospital? Who maintains the medical equipment at Chris Hani Baragwanath Hospital? Who supplies personal protective equipment at the hospital? Who supplies the bread? Should the truck really drive from a few kilometers from here to get to Chris Hani Baragwanath Hospital? Or can we, on our own, just decide that, in fact, we're going to solve that problem? But government can only go this far. We can create the industrial park. So there's an industrial park that requires expansion here. And I'm sure now this is where I become very dangerous as an MEC. I'm sure we can partner with the city of Johannesburg if the demand is there by entrepreneurs to use the industrial park. So we have the appetite to do it. The question is whether the entrepreneurs have the appetite to take advantage of the opportunity. We have the appetite to support the innovators through the eKasiLabs. But it's the other side that's also crucial, which is the innovators taking full advantage of the opportunities that we create. Part of what we're discussing with the Innovation Hub, Chairperson Rajitanga, is how do we expand its scope and mandate to move from innovation to acceleration, so that the financing and enterprise development opportunities on the other side are enhanced. And I'm saying that the trick is, it can get as big as the demand is. The Gauteng provincial government has developed the Township Enterprise Bill, which was adopted by the Executive Council in March. We presented it to the legislature, so it's going to go through a public consultation process by the legislature and the committee, the oversight committee. And that act is intended to support township-based enterprises, to enable commercial and industrial development in our townships, and through that enable and facilitate spatial transformation. But it is written by us who are government, bureaucrats, politicians, etc. The challenge is going to be for those who are the entrepreneurs to interpret whether what we have drafted will facilitate and enable township enterprise development. And for you to help us shape this piece of legislation to become more effective. So when the legislature calls for public submissions, part of what we hope for is that the entrepreneurs themselves help us shape this piece of legislation. Because the risk that we run is that the conversation is shaped as it was when this bill was first published. And people talk about it being an act that seeks to marginalize foreign nationals, as opposed to being an act that facilitates and enables spatial transformation and economic development in townships. So the discourse can be shaped by those who participate in the discussion. And if we exclude ourselves from the discourse, the legislation is likely to be shaped by those who seek to influence it in a particular direction. So the next few months are going to be important in determining what would be the first piece of legislation in the country that is specifically focused on historically black townships. I know we call it township revitalization, but you can only really revitalize what was already there. In reality, enterprise development has been curtailed and marginalized in our townships. Somebody's challenging my voice to determine whether I can. I suspect I can do better than Peter here. The only problem is that by the end of the day, I would not be able to speak anymore because I would have screamed my lungs out. So I'm really urging all of us to participate in what is going to be an important discourse about how we change the township economy, how we enable and facilitate real and far-reaching transformation, how we ensure equitable access to economic opportunities, how we develop the financing mechanisms that support township-based enterprises. In fact, I should say that we are far down the line in finalizing a fund that should support township-based enterprises. so that we are able to say, from the eKasiLab into the industrial park with the financing facility and enabling legislation, we've got a combination of solutions that will drive transformation. Because we need to ensure that townships also see themselves as a market. And the estimated population of Soweto ranges from, at least the census says, 1.2 million or so. But the numbers that we talk about in the township exceed that. I'm not sure why the census and our numbers differ. But let's work on the basis of the census numbers, and we say there are in excess of 1.2 million people. These people wear shoes, they wear clothes, they eat, they drink. You know, I've been saying to the liquor board, as you regulate the industry, can you also start defining enterprise development opportunities? It's not a particularly complicated science anymore to make a beer. So there are craft beers, but we seem to insist that we must import it. You know, there are more people in Soweto than there are in Namibia. Mara sansan reka beer ya ko Namibia. Why bona mos? Lera reka thula ko etsa botoro. Peanut butter. Every day re ja boroto. I want to come to a location in Capato or peanut butter. Lichamunyana. So it is those enterprises that we need to support, but it's also the enterprises that create new products, the innovators that would want to grow from the townships. So we're reaching out really to say, look at us as your partners, but also look at us as your market. Because government is a market. We do buy lots of products. You know, government does literally everything. We rear animals. Bomasipala ba na le di-zoo. Rolla matlakala. Now in the area of innovation, if you think about it, one of our focus areas is waste management. If you think about waste and say, how much of that waste becomes part of the mainstream economy through recycling, reuse? How much of that waste becomes energy? Innovators have found solutions of converting waste to energy, to gas, of converting sewer treatment plants into enterprise development opportunities through creating manure, and even generating energy from sewer treatment plants. So maybe you should also look at us as your laboratory. So when you look at the Innovation Hub and you say, when we get to the eKasiLabs, because government is a market, maybe we should also use them as our laboratory. So as we innovate to enable them to find solutions, innovative solutions to the issues that they are confronting and the services that they deliver. Whether it's Kontir or public lights or any other thing, just think about us as a market and a laboratory. So I certainly am looking forward to this being a long-lasting partnership that delivers freedom. I always contend that 1994 was a breakthrough. But until we have equitable access to opportunities, until we've enjoyed the liberties of socio-economic freedom, then we have not attained freedom. We have attained the platform to create the freedom. Now let us use this platform effectively to deliver our freedom. Thank you very much.
MEC, thank you very much for those very insightful, motivating words. To echo your sentiments, if not us, then who? If not now, then when? We need to bring it back home. We need to take it back home. We have to start creating an ecosystem. We have to see ourselves as a market. And those are very, very encouraging words from one of our leaders. And I must say, in the meetings that I've had with him, representing the Innovation Hub, he has always put us to task about what are we doing about township entrepreneurs? Why is it that it looks like we are marginalizing them? So I think there's definitely an opportunity and a chance for us to take our place in our society, for us to take our place in our innovation ecosystems, because we can. If not now, then when? That's a question that I'll ask. Now we're going to have our panel discussion. MEC, I would like to call you back onto the stage. You may sit wherever you feel comfortable. I would also like to call upon Ms. Notile Mpisi, who's the GM of the eKasiLabs. She's going to be one of our panelists. CEO of I Am Emerge, Mr. Oscar Mwama. Could you also come up? And then Mr. Tumelo Dichabe, who's the TechnoServe Business Advisor. These are going to be our panelists and to be the moderator. We're going to have our discussion, but after that, there'll be an opportunity for question and answers. So once we've had the discussion, please just take note of the sentiments that are being shared, but then this is also an opportunity for you to ask our esteemed panelists questions, burning questions that you as a community of entrepreneurs and innovators. Welcome, welcome. MEC, before I start the discussion, I'm going to give our fellow panelists an opportunity to introduce themselves, their organizations, and to tell us who they are and what they do. So ladies first, Ms. Notile Mpisi, could you tell us about yourself, your organization that you represent, and then also what role does it play in reviving innovation in our community?
Thank you, Program Director. My name is Notile Mpisi. I am the GM for eKasiLabs. Basically, the role that we play is exactly what has been discussed this morning. We are indeed revitalizing the township economy. We are supporting entrepreneurs from the township. We want to grow them. We do not want them to stay small, but we want them to grow and move, even supply even outside the South Africa. One of the entrepreneurs is supplying even throughout the SADC. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Tumelo Dichabe. I'm a business advisor from an NGO called TechnoServe. Now, TechnoServe is a 53-year-old NGO which works with enterprise and people across the world to create competitive farms, businesses, and industries. We link people to finance, to information, as well as capital. And we're currently rated the #1 nonprofit at poverty alleviation. I'm a business advisor over there running a program called the Youth Ideas Development, where we take business ideas from youth and we help them ideate and iterate and innovate. Thereafter, we incubate the idea. And after incubation, we accelerate through provision of funding. We also take them through mentorship and aftercare. Among some of the programs that we have agricultural mining hubs in most of the mining towns through a program called Zimele, where we are providing youth development, enterprise development, and supply development. We have the Bookshop program over here in Vilagazi as well as in Midrand, which provides an incubation platform for fashion entrepreneurs. And we also have a recently launched program called the Youth and Women in Business Technology, which looks at helping entrepreneurs within the ICT space in terms of making sure that they are able to weather the storm of the COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you very much.
Hi guys, I'm Oscar Munama. I'm a CEO of IM Emerge. IM Emerge has this concept called Vulega Platform. So Vulega Platform services over 300 spazas in Alexandra and Soweto. We do bulk aggregation. We also provide a market for unknown manufacturers. So we recently have a warehouse in Wynberg. We have 3 vehicles that we have bought over the years that do deliveries on a daily basis. We hire unemployed youth that actually live within the township that actually help us in terms of collecting orders, negotiating with spaza owners. So far, so good.
MEC, I have a question for you, because a lot of times we tend to have the sentiment that it's a government's fault when things do not work. And a question as other stakeholders within our economy, within our country is, what role do we have to play? So my question is, what are the practical ways in which the innovation ecosystem can work better with the government to achieve the objectives of TER? What role can we play to work with you?
Well, firstly, it's about partnerships. It's about the appetite to partner with government, understanding that, in fact, government has a number of roles that it plays and we can leverage for. It has the potential to convene and aggregate, so government is an important institution that can convene us and enable the aggregation of a number of initiatives. Government also legislates and provides policy. And of course, it provides the financial and other instruments, technical instruments to support what we seek to achieve. But remember, government is not made up of a bunch of entrepreneurs. We're policy people, we're technical people, we're political, but we're not the entrepreneurs. So the solutions ultimately are defined by the entrepreneurs. And the success of any government is in its ability to partner with the private sector and other institutions to move forward. So I think that that's an important part of what we need to do. See government and say, we're looking at the innovation hub and we think that you should expand your scope, you should expand your delivery products in such a way because this is what we need. And on the basis of that, we think that you can make a better impact. So don't look at us as those people sitting there doing something, as opposed to these are the people that we have given the mandate to do certain things on our behalf and with us. Thanks.
Thank you very much, MEC. Saki, is he online? All right, let me, I'll go to now Notile. As the woman in charge here at the Innovation Hubs, the eKasiLabs, what are the biggest challenges that you're facing as the head of the eKasiLabs? And from a perspective of the policy that we have surrounding us in the country and also innovation development.
I was excited when I heard the MEC talking about the township bill and also posing a question about how do we include township entrepreneurs as part of the supply chain. My response to this question is exactly the same as that. Those are the challenges that we've been facing that are faced by township entrepreneurs. They affect us directly as eKasiLabs. They affect our impact, because if our entrepreneurs are not moving, that means our impact is not known. So for an example, I want to talk about the procurement processes. Procurement process from the policy point of view, there are criteria that are higher from township entrepreneurs. So the criteria, the compliance is too high to be reached by the township entrepreneurs. So for an example, you find that the service requires somebody who has 2 to 3 years experience, who has a staff turnover, a staff complement, or to demonstrate number of projects you have done. You find that our budding entrepreneurs do not have that history, and therefore they are not able to participate in the procurement, especially in the state as well as municipalities. That's one. The second one is the state funding. Again, the criteria is not geared towards township entrepreneurs. The criteria is much higher for our budding entrepreneurs, and some of the funders are looking for securities or the collateral, which our budding entrepreneurs from the township do not have that. Those are the two challenges that I wanted to share with the audience today. Thank you.
Two. I think Saki's ready to join us. I'm going to ask him to introduce himself, the organization that he leads, and then also, and then after that, I suppose I'll ask him his first question.
Thank you, Matsi. Good morning, MEC and colleagues. I'm CEO of the Gauteng Enterprise Propeller, and our mandate in simple terms is the support of small and medium enterprises.
Great. Saki, your first question I have for you is what does impact mean for the Gauteng Enterprise Propeller? And especially within the TER context, impact, what is it how do you define your impact, and also especially in the context of township entrepreneurship, economic revitalization?
So the MC mentioned something very key for the enterprise propeller. The province allocated 250 million, and they then said to us as the GEP, we must leverage that money with private sector partners and focus on entrepreneurs, mainly in the township. But again, as the MEC was saying, the idea of township is not only just micro enterprises, it's to be able to support businesses that can scale up. So we've identified certain sectors that are going to be focused, but again, we're trying to be responsive to the market on what the needs are. So again, in short, what the impact would be, firstly, is the financial support. So we can lend into businesses that need money to grow, that need working capital, but we also offer non-financial support. So what these eKasiLabs, for example, do is to reduce the cost of business for entrepreneurs. They provide space, for example, which can be expensive. And our hope is that we will then be able to offer tech products that allow entrepreneurs, for example, to have meetings virtually, to do coding if that's what they need to do, to have access to bandwidth for some of the things that require bandwidth. So really ours is both financial and non-financial support, but even the non-financial support has got to reduce the cost of doing business for entrepreneurs. So we're really basically in the room, the people that can write a check to entrepreneurs, but this is not free money, it's money that must be paid back. So we're then looking at businesses that are viable in the long term. So by viable, again, we don't mean you have to be profitable from day one. but you got to show that the business has real and genuine prospects of being profitable in the future. So that really is our support. So we try and be closer to entrepreneurs so that they can get this financial support. But the partnerships we're doing, for example, I think the MEC probably in 2 weeks or so will be announcing some of the partners that we're working with, and we having people that are putting R1 for R1 as a minimum, and others are even putting 90 cents in a rand to partner with us on reaching out to more entrepreneurs. But we want that funding to still remain developmental. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Saki. I have a lot of questions, but I'll probably leave it for the Q&A. And Tumelo, we speak a lot about challenges, and I think we are very much aware of what our challenges are. But my question to you is around, what are the biggest opportunities right now for township entrepreneurs in South Africa?
Question? Can you hear me? The biggest opportunities for township entrepreneurs is in the technology space. This is a space where it allows entrepreneurs to go from business to business as well as from business to client. The reason for that is this: we have existing businesses in our townships, businesses that have been around for the past 20, 30, 40 years. And we need to take these businesses from local to what I call glocal. By glocal, I mean take it from Soweto to Tembisa, take it from Tembisa to Soshanguve, take it from Soshanguve to Mdantsane and to Gugulethu. And then we are able to then access the global stage, where we are able to then take our products offshore and even to other other African countries. But the greatest opportunities are within the technology space, ICT space. We're looking at green economy. We're looking at manufacturing. The MEC touched the nerve earlier, because this is something that I've been complaining about. We've got 70% of all plants in South Africa that are not available anywhere else in the world. And that's a space where we can take advantage and create our own homegrown products, being it facial products, being it drinks, being it alcohol, being it whatever type of product you can take. But I would say, top of my head, ICT, manufacturing, green economy. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. It's always good to hear what the opportunities are, and this is where our entrepreneurs and our innovators in our townships should be looking into. Oscar, you being an entrepreneur, having your own business, and us being here to serve you, because we are the eKasiLabs, we are the Innovation Hub. Could you tell us what it is that we are failing at, and also what is it that we're doing well at? Because, you know, as an institution, it's always good to monitor and evaluate, and the best way is to do it by engaging new entrepreneurs that are part of our program. So just give us some insights around what we're doing well and what it is that perhaps you're not doing too well, and what could we do better?
I think the MEC touched on it, you know. Mostly it's this ideology that government are not entrepreneurs, you know. It's just a pity that at times, even if when someone applies for funding, you sit in a panel of people that have no idea what it is that you're doing, you know, and you are judged based on a certain piece of paper that you can write. I mean, who would have known years ago that Facebook would be worth this much? I mean, it was a network where people just connect. But right now, it's a global phenomenon that businesses even advertise on. I mean, Mark Zuckerberg is probably one of the richest person on earth, and he came up with that idea. But then, it's just, I think government needs to have this diversity of understanding that certain businesses do not have that projectile, you know, that soars in the next 2-3 years. You know, there are certain businesses that are like a Takeholder. You know, it takes you 10-20 years to actually get to a business that's worth a big value. But then the potential of it versus the initial investment is quite big, because now when you initially look at that kind of business, you say, hey, my man, you're not going to make money, which is similar to the business that we have, and we've been running 5 years strong. You know, it's only recently, because now you look at the potential of development, as Tato mentioned, that IT is the biggest thing. You know, I mean, every day I go with my guys and they do delivery. you see a lot of people that have been affected by the COVID, people starting jobs, people starting food stalls outside their house, you know. There's certain opportunities for just making reference to what the MEC says in terms of looking at how legislation, look at how bylaws affect these guys, because yes, it's illegal to have a stall and you have people just a meter away from your yard and opening a store. But how do we look at such laws to kind of help the entrepreneur? You know, how we look at cost of actually establishing a business. I mean, to tell someone that doesn't have money to say, hey, you first gonna need a bank account, you're gonna need to go to SARS, you're gonna need to go to this. I mean, you're looking at a good grand to $2,000 just before you even make a cent. You know, so those are certain things that I think could be looked at in terms of how do we make the life of the entrepreneur easier than to say, okay, let's look at the barriers that this person or hurdles that this person needs to jump in order to just start.
Any burning questions? I think I'll start with 3. Please identify yourself and then also identify the person the question is for. So I will take the first 3 questions. There's a gentleman there wearing the white jacket. There's another gentleman there in the red, and there's a lady that side. Okay, great. Can we offer the gentleman in the white jacket a mic for his question? Or unless you might just want to attempt asking without a mic.
Okay, dumelang. Lebitso la ka ke Chris Levese. I'm from Piteng Arts and Craft. What I want to say is it's very simple and straightforward. Please don't choose businesses. Artists are there as well, and artists do a lot of work. Some of our progress takes a very long time, 10, 15 years. My company is 20 years. We are based here at the Soweto Empowerment Zone, but we're getting absolutely very little attention. So can I please appeal to you, stop choosing businesses and look at all businesses equally. Thank you.
Mine is not a question per se, more of a comment, and any of the panelists might want to basically add on it, post it. It's basically based on some of the issues that have been addressed and been touched on pertaining to small businesses and some of the issues that we face as small businesses and entrepreneurs. In particular, so when we touch of procurement, one of the panelists had mentioned that procurement as well as funding in terms of policies and how legislation becomes a red tape around it. Now, when you look at procurement from a national government or at a national level and a provincial level, local level, and within some of the agencies, such as the Innovation Hub, the GEP, CEDA, and various other agencies that geared up to support small businesses. Now, I think the question and the concern is that if government procures from the same company at a national level, provincial level, local level, and within agencies, that on its own becomes a problem. And this is where we should ask ourselves to say, is it really possible that only one business can provide a solution at a high level, even at the smallest level? Ntate Pakstau had mentioned one thing during his speech to say that when you look at Baragwanath Hospital, who delivers the bread, who delivers the cleaning products, the PPEs, and at a clinic level, you know, so it becomes part and parcel of that. So the question or comment is that at an agency level, such as the Innovation Hub, do we have policies, or are we looking at policies that would deliberately push business to even the businesses that they have themselves incubated? Because, you know, when they say it begins at home, this is one of the questions whereby we ask ourselves to say, out of 20 businesses that we've incubated over the last financial year, how many of those are we procuring from, or are we willing to procure from? Thank you very much.
Great, and then there's a lady that side. That's a third question.
Yes. And the biggest problem for entrepreneurs is access to information. You know, we can come here, we can talk, we can tell them, we can say, we got innovations, we got a hub. But most of them can't access this information. Most of them can't access this infrastructure. They don't even know where to go, where to start. And let's even talk about when there was a relief fund for COVID-19 for entrepreneurs. Most of them gave up because the paperwork made no sense. The paperwork just beat them down. They were frustrated. So how do we cut down on the paperwork and the red tape? And how do we make sure that all entrepreneurs, especially the ones that are most vulnerable, can access the information? How do they get to the information? How do they get to the infrastructure?
Great. Shida, thank you very much. We're going to answer the first 3 questions and then I'll take another round. MEC, I think I'd like for you to take the second question around democratizing procurement. If you could just give more details around how they can access these opportunities.
Okay, thanks. The question was around procurement. And maybe I'll start from a slightly different sector to demonstrate, because we'll be expanding this into other areas. We are presenting to the Executive Council a proposal on creating a database of small black farmers, from which database government can procure. Because we need to ensure that you have the necessary scale to be able to supply. And part of what we have identified in the agricultural sector is that, yes, there are many people that are getting into the sector, but one of their biggest problems is access to market. And this is access directly into markets that are run by municipalities, because the market agents determine who they buy from. And there's long established relationships that have been difficult to break down. So how do we create direct access to government as a market and create from that database a set of entrepreneurs that we're going to support? A lot of them have a problem that they don't have pack houses, so they need to go through various loops before they can get to the actual market. So by the time the product is sold, it is sold at 3 or 4 times more than they've been able to sell it for as a farmer. So how do we break that down and ensure that they have direct access to market? So we're using that as a test case from which we can build into other industries that we will support directly. So almost deliberately saying, from these people, these are the products we're going to buy. You can grow from there, but at least we can give you guaranteed access to market. And we, as I said, will be the market directly. Thanks.
Thank you, MEC. Notila, I think the third question is more targeted at you as the eKasiLabs. How are we promoting our initiatives? How are people finding out what it is that we're doing?
Thank you. She's actually quite right. One of the challenges of entrepreneurs from townships is access to information. And so one of the things that all our eKasiLabs are located in areas where it's easier access for anyone to be able to see where we are located. That's one thing. But I want to talk about what are the networking initiatives that we do so that we promote those entrepreneurs. I think that's one of the things that is important for people to know. What are we doing to be known? One of the things that we do for our incubators, we take them to various exhibitions and conferences such as SA Innovation Summits in Cape Town. That's where they showcase their innovations. And also we do encourage our entrepreneurs to partake on competitions that are available. There are a number of competitions such as Township Mineral Awards, SAB and MTN. Those are the things that we do so that the community can see that there is eKasiLabs. If one of our incubators win those competitions, they are able to know that they come from eKasiLabs. The last thing that we do partner with we are big in collaborative activities. We do partner with our stakeholders so that we are also known and showcase our entrepreneurs as well. Thank you.
Great. I'm going to take another round of questions.
Good day, everyone. My name is Welile Mbolegwa. We run a company that consults in medical cannabis from the start to the end, if you're looking for the license. Now, we are not only just providing the consulting services, but we are also advised in terms of the effective infrastructural solutions for companies, especially SMMEs. Because, I think when we started legalizing cannabis in South Africa, people kept on saying you need about 10 million to start, you need about 20 million to start, but really it's not true. We need to get into, finding or getting into these, getting these solutions to the people. I heard that the Premier, I think during SOPA, did touch a bit around cannabis. So we provide solutions like growing cannabis, medical cannabis in your shipping containers. For an example, you can grow medical cannabis at the size of a greenhouse that is worth around 5 million, with shipping containers spending around 700,000. There are those kind of solutions. And I think not only that, but I just think that when you're looking at what's happening in other countries, and also let me also just emphasize on the fact that, yes, in South Africa, we are not yet legalized to trade in recreational cannabis. But medical cannabis can really, really speed up the economic transformation, if you will. I'm just thinking, medicines that are being sold, for an example, for epilepsy. I was reading an article recently where in Australia, as a child who's battling with epilepsy and they have to fly to Canada to go and get cannabis. And not only that, but the expenditure or what they're spending per month is about $8,000 for that medication. That's just an individual. The value of medical cannabis oil globally is about $40,000 a liter. That's 600,000 rands a liter. And we can do that here in South Africa. Right now, Canada and America is leading, with regards to that. Growing it indoors on artificial radiation. We know that they do not have, such a number of sunny days like we do. We have an advantage. Not only that, but we also have South African...
Can I ask that we get to the comment or the question, because other people would also like to ask questions.
All right. So I wanted to just say that, MEC, is there a strategy around medical cannabis for Gauteng? Because I hear the Premier said something about that. Is there a strategy for Gauteng? Is there a strategy for labs in the locations that can grow and manufacture cannabis? Thank you.
Thank you very much. There's a gentleman wearing the pink shirt.
Good day, everybody. My name is Adrian Maloney. I'm from a company that's incubated at the eKasiLabs called shopperpolitan.com. We are an online web marketplace that provides e-commerce solutions for entrepreneurs to basically sell their products and services online. I've got two questions that I would really like to know, that I would like to ask the panelists, okay? The one is, how do we as shopperpolitan.com scale where we can provide our e-commerce platform to the innovation park and all the other stakeholders in Africa? Because there's a lot of entrepreneurs here, like for instance, Chris, that asked the first question. He's basically in pottery. He creates candles, and probably he would like to sell his candles outside of the South African market, Hence the Innovation Hub having these already strategic partnerships with their other stakeholders. So we at shopperpolitan.com would like to leverage of that, where we basically take entrepreneurs that's from the Kasi, because one of your panelists said, the guy there, I forgot to write that down. Can you just say it again? That's so unique, where you take a business and you put him, in another part of Gauteng or in another part of the country. My second question basically is,
can we limit it to one question?
Oh, okay.
Sorry, we have very limited time, so I'd like other people to also be able to ask questions. So thank you very much for that.
Okay, thank you.
And I think that question will be good for Saki, right? Great. Saki, I hope you've noted that question. The third question is the lady here in the front.
Sanbanani, Sawana MSc. Ikamalam Gupumzile. I'm from eKasiLabs Tembisa. I'm manufacturing baby skincare ointments for skin irritations found in infants and toddlers. So MEC ngiyakuzwa ukuthi ningaba yimarket nina kithi as ama entrepreneurs. My product is tested, it's approved and also endorsed by dermatologists. I've been knocking on government clinics and government hospitals. It's only private pharmacies laba bavumayo ukuthi ngibasupply. So how do I crack that market yaka government without being told ukuthi you already have your supplier that has been supplying you for years? Thank you.
Thank you very much. MEC, I think the first and the third questions, if you could tackle those, and then Saki, the second question.
On the cannabis issue, currently the legislative framework has particular limitations, particularly on industrial cannabis and other opportunities that are there in the cannabis industry. There are a limited number of licenses that have been issued for medical cannabis, and many of them are actually doing it from the point of running pilot projects. It's one of the areas we've identified as a priority. We have been engaging with people that are involved in the industry so that we shape our policy to respond to the issues that confront the industry. One of the things we're going to have to determine, for example, is how to avoid cross-pollination, which is going to be one of the key challenges we're confronting in Gauteng, because as you would know, those who do CBD and those who do THC need to have distance between each other so that you avoid cross-pollination and their industry standard issues. So that's one thing we need to resolve. The second issue we need to resolve is about how do we confront collectively SAPRA to issue more licenses so that in fact we can incubate more enterprises, particularly in the medical space, but also then engage with the Department of Agriculture around creating a regulatory environment for the rest of the cannabis industry where there are great opportunities. The approach we are taking as a department is that, yes, you can support the industry, but there are greater opportunities in the cannabis industry that have to do with industrialization, creation of different products, from hair products to skin products to a whole range of other products that can be used in this sector that we're not taking full advantage of. So the strategy we're working on is one that says, can we break into the market within the current regulatory environment by looking at other industries beyond the issues that are regulated and the regulatory limitations that there are, whilst we incubate these enterprises. But it's a discussion that we certainly are prepared to have with you and see where we can pick off from the initiatives that you're proposing. The third question is, how do you access us as a market? I mean, I made an example about the agricultural sector, simply to say that we are creating the regulatory framework to enable you to access us better. So the easiest answer to give you now is talk to us after this, because that's the easiest answer. But from a policy point of view, we need to develop a regulatory framework that enables township-based enterprises to access us as a market and procure from them in a deliberate way. And that requires articulated policy. In fact, I should say we're having the workshop this afternoon on taking forward the BEE policy into the regulatory framework that enables us to become a greater market.
Thank you, MEC. Saki, are you ready to take the second question?
Question then on what can we do to help businesses scale up. We can help in one of two ways. One could be funding. If you're at a point where you've developed your business enough and it is clear what funding you need to take it to the next level, or it could be that you then still need to develop a business plan, do feasibility on what it is that needs to be done. So it depends really at what stage you are in the business. But again, that's that support that we're supposed to do. So if you need funding and you have a strong market or potential market, we could look into that. So it would really depend on the strength of your application and what it is that you're looking for from us. But we are there. Thank you.
Thank you, Saki. The common thread here is access to markets, right? And it's clearly something that's very key. One of the comments from our virtual guests, audience, is how is the city assisting eKasi entrepreneurs to access the market? Funding means nothing without access to markets. I tend to believe with our colleague that side. And then I also have to take some questions from our virtual audience. Buitumelo says, MEC, good day. Buitumelo Klapi here. What is the best approach that may be used to partner with the government, whether provincial or local? For instance, incubated entrepreneurs have newly developed technology that may assist government in a particular sector. So that's one question. And then another, it's more of a comment and a plea to assist MEC. I don't have the name, but the person mentions that in December 2019, there was a competition pitch booster in Ekurhuleni in spring. But till now, we did not get our prize, so please can you talk to Mr. Chauke on our behalf? So I'm not sure if the MEC can assist in that regard. Okay, perhaps Saki could be able to assist on this one. But I think the first question from Buitumelo is, how do we partner with the government? What's the best way to do it, MEC?
Between Musa and Peter. Because they are the CEOs now, so they need to do the partnerships. I imagine from the point that Buitumelo was making, facilitating a discussion with the Innovation Hub would be an important entry point because of the industry that she's talking about. But I want Peter to talk about how does she access you.
Yeah, thank you very much, MEC. I should have taken that seat also because Saki is not here in retrospect. Yeah, so part of our incubation program is we provide access to markets, we provide infrastructure, and we provide mentorship, as Notile previously alluded to. So part of our networking with our strategic partners, we have a list of all our companies. And if you are ready at a commercialization stage, and you can prove that your product in your instance is safe for human consumption, you've done all your tests, then through our strategic network, we then promote you. When we have our sessions also with strategic partners, we also invite our incubatees to sessions, so that you can expose yourself. We, unfortunately, with COVID that we're all experiencing now, we had, I think Notile, you spoke about the SA Innovation Summit. So what we do is we take our incubatees to Cape Town. In fact, MEC, we are speaking to the organizers of the SA Innovation Summit to bring that summit to Gauteng. Because it's much easier for us because we're the biggest province and basically we're the only province who has an innovation hub. No other province has got an innovation hub. We
get calls from other provinces regularly to come and meet with us. They want to establish their own innovation hubs, but we keep our IP close to our chest at this point in time. But surely we've got a footprint in other provinces as well. We not only have a footprint in Gauteng, because that plays part of the networking and to promote you and to put your market in the space where anyone can see it. You know, speaking about cannabis, MEC, we've got a company called Vida Pharmaceuticals. I see you nodding your head. So Vida Pharmaceuticals is currently an incubated company through our biopark. We've bought some equipment for them. Obviously, we've got seed funding through CEDA. I see colleagues from CEDA is also here. We got some funding for them. We set up equipment. So currently, they are manufacturing oil from cannabis plants now for medicinal use. Now, the problem with Vida Pharmaceuticals also is the issue that you've raised with SAPRA. Because now you have the issue of distributing the cannabis to the park. So, but that's why I said, let us have a discussion and a networking, because we are in the cannabis space. Now, as MEC alluded to, as a province, we are already addressing the potential that exists in the cannabis industry. From a job creation, from an economic development point of view, it's huge and sustainable, by the way. And that's what we're striving to assist companies with, that sustainability part, the end result. So in a nutshell, the networking, it's part of our incubation model. It's our responsibility to market you. It's our responsibility to put you there. And that's why in your industry, for instance, in the skincare, I don't know if some of you know Portia M, for instance. Portia M was also an incubated company today, and I have permission from her to say this. Today, Portia has, to date, appointed 30 black females from the township permanent in her employ, and the turnover is now 60 to 70 million per annum. And that is but one of the success stories of the Innovation Hub. There's plenty of others. I think we've issued a note this morning also of some of our companies from the eKasiLabs. There are a number of you sitting here who are doing brilliantly. And I was at the French Embassy on Tuesday evening, and even there, they mentioned the Innovation Hub and what eKasiLabs are doing for the economic development. And that comes back to the networking. So yes, it's our responsibility. Portia M also, Portia is now selling at all your well-known superstores and chains, but that's also through the networking with the Innovation Hub. So that we're not only going to do it for Portia M, but we have to do it for all of our entrepreneurs, and especially for townships. And one last example is, if you can see at the back, the entrepreneurs who are showcasing, that's how we promote. So because it's a small function, because COVID protocol, we could have used the whole space outside to get entrepreneurs. We are also looking at a showroom at the Innovation Hub. We're also looking at a showroom video that we can publish on radio stations and market. And through our marketing and communications, they're also doing, if you go to our website, you see a list of companies that are there.
Okay, CEO, thank you very much for providing that clarity and then also for articulating some of the success stories. The responsibility for the hub is to serve you, but I think also as entrepreneurs, we have a responsibility to build our own businesses. It begins and ends with us. We are here as enablers, but at the end of the day, how do you utilize us better? I think, CEO, one of the outcomes is also how do we promote what we're doing better? and also how do we create channels where we can get constructive feedback and inputs so that we can always do better. I'm going to wrap up because we are running out of time, and MEC, I'm going to give you an opportunity to do your final comments, closing remarks, and I'll give everybody else on the panel to do so, including you, Saki. So if you could get yourself ready on the other side.
The easiest thing to say is that part of the reason that we have this engagement is to create awareness and to create access to opportunity. And I should say that we are looking, in fact, creative industries is one of the 10 priority sectors in the province. So it is an area that we are focusing on. We have an engagement with my counterpart in arts and culture, so that we work together. I mean, they will be the champions of creative industries, but we need to bring the support systems in economic development to support them. So we will be engaging with them and enhancing the work that we do in the creative industries. But it is an area that we do want to focus on and create greater opportunities. If you think about it, whether it's sports and arts and culture, it's a huge industry, and if well supported, can create opportunities for many people, and we need to leverage off that and provide the necessary support. But thank you very much, and thanks for everybody who's participated, because we would want to ensure greater awareness of the work that we do. There are many opportunities that are there and many facilities that are there in government, and some of them are not even located in the provincial government, but we can also direct you to our colleagues in the municipalities, our colleagues in national government, even the private sector, and the opportunities that are there that would want to leverage from. But it is about creating that awareness and partnerships with yourselves. Thanks.
Thank you, MEC. Notile, your final remarks?
It's been a great stakeholder engagement. I must really appreciate everyone who's here today, and I really appreciate the questions and the comments that came from this engagement, and all other comments that came as a way of how do we improve as eKasiLabs or as the Innovation Hub have been taken seriously. Thank you.
From my side, it's to the entrepreneurs out there. I feel your pain. I deal with entrepreneurs on a daily, and I understand the frustrations, especially the funding, where you're told that you're too innovative, you're too huge, you're a small business, you're from Mofolo, so what are you doing in the 30 million rand space? Who are you to even be thinking about that? But I would like to encourage entrepreneurs to collaborate. We need fusion marketing. We need to fuse in terms of what services are we providing. Let's have a gene meet art, meet facial products, and meet drinks type of settings where we are able to all grow as entrepreneurs within the space. But there's a huge potential for township economy. The entrepreneurs within the ICT space, I urge you, you know that mother who's been running this business for the past 20 years and they've got a huge market, but nobody knows about them in Tembisa. Nobody knows about them in the next town. Be the one that comes in and create a platform for them to be much more visible to other markets out there. Because by doing so, you're also creating a way in which you could also benefit yourself. That's why I was talking about business to business as well as business to client. Thank you very much.
My last words is just to encourage entrepreneurs that it all begins with you. You can knock on government's doors, you can knock on anybody's doors, but it begins with you. I mean, I think it's Adrian, like your idea, a shopaholic. It's shopaholic. Shopper. It's all an idea that depends on how far you're willing to go. I mean, we're running a company that hasn't made profit in the past 4 years, but we're still existing. We're still pushing, regardless of where you can knock. At the end of the day, it all comes down to what you believe in and what you're willing to sacrifice to put the work out there. I mean, I've sacrificed my car. If I can show you my personal car, it's probably sitting on bricks now. But it's a journey that eventually, once you realize the rewards, you enjoy it, so there's no point in sitting and pointing at government and saying this and this and this. Do the work. Someone eventually will listen. It's what we've learned. It's honestly, it's what I've learned through the process. The same people that said no to us 3 years ago, they're now knocking at our doors and saying, dude, how do we sort out this informal market? The same people that were awarded 30 million funding, whereas in all our 5-year venture, we haven't even gotten to 3 million. People have been awarded 20 million. The businesses are non-existent, you know what I mean? Because the minute you start to put funding first, it's very difficult to kind of stay lean, so to say, So think lean, think of how to get your business working, how to build a model that makes sense for you before you even knock, so that when someone else has come, they come with the headache that you've already figured out, and you're able to say, listen, this is how I do it. And for me to go from here to here, I need this much, because you've maintained through the rough terrain. You've done the job, and it's easier for someone to come and knock at you.
Thank you, Oscar. Saki, if you are with us, could you give us your final comments?
Thank you, Matsi. And thanks to Oscar. I agree with his sentiments. The journey of being an entrepreneur is a little bit tough. But we are there as these entities to provide what we can. We are developmental and have a mandate to do as much as we can, and we're on a big journey to form partnerships with entrepreneurs. So those individuals who are able to come to us and say, this is how best we can serve the market, we really would welcome that kind of support. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Saki. To do our vote of thanks, it's our esteemed chairman of the Innovation Hub. It's Dr. Rashitanga. He's going to do the vote of thanks.
Thank you very much, everybody. Program Director, Ms. Matsi Mudise, MEC Pakstow, MEC for Economic Development, Agriculture, Environment, and Rural Development. Acting Head of the Department of Economic Development, Ms. Dawn Robertson, who joined us virtually. Chairperson of the Gauteng Growth and Development Agency Group Board, Mr. Ernest Mahlaule, and other board members that may be with us here virtually. Group Chief Executive Officer of GGDA, Ms. Musa Chabalala, and the Gauteng Enterprise Propeller CEO, Mr. Saki Zamklaka, executive managers for the department and all agencies represented here today, and the representatives of the township economy and revitalization, our eKasiLabs entrepreneurs, the Innovation Hub staff members, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for the very interesting engagement that we have had here today, most especially to the MEC. He could easily have come in here secretly to learn about the Soweto eKasiLab, and he would have appreciated it for himself. But we thank him and the team for deciding that it should be done in the form of an engagement with the community, with the entrepreneurs, with the media, because there's nothing to hide, and we gain more when we interact together. A few words of comments from my side based on what has been discussed. I know that the MEC is a spatial development expert, and I just want to echo that economic apartheid was anchored and concretized spatially. And one of the things that we're going to have to do to transform the economy is to do so spatially, because black people were separated from economic hubs deliberately and spatially so. That's why you have these highways that separate Soweto from the Johannesburg city, and where the government is located, where everybody goes to seek government's attention. One of the things we need to do if we want to bring economic development to the townships is to choreograph the location of critical institutions, including government, right there inside the townships themselves, because that is how they will have access to government. I think the eKasiLab initiative is a small part of doing so, but I think we have to stretch our imagination to say what else can we do to make sure that people are closer to economic initiatives. We have heard there's lots of entrepreneurs, they have a lot of solutions. One of the things that is most needed is productive technology. As much as we set up spaces for interaction, I think we also need to be deliberate about the productive technology that our entrepreneurs need in order to move their solutions from theory to actual production. And that requires that we take your guidance, MEC. We have to have a deliberate innovation agenda as the innovation hub. We shouldn't just rely on what people say they have as entrepreneurs, but based on the consumption of products and services of government, we should be able to guide them as to the kind of solutions that are needed that will eventually have a market in the form of the state economy. We need to bridge the gap. It may not be wise for cross-pollination in the cannabis industry, but in government institutions is definitely necessary. I'm thrilled that we have a partnership with the Gauteng Enterprise Propeller, but I would like to suggest that in order to bridge the gap further, we should actually invite GEP to reside in our eKasiLabs, to actually come and have an office within our eKasiLabs. I know that they have presence in the townships, but they need to be even more closer to our innovation entrepreneurs. We have space here. Once in a week or twice in a week, they can make sure that their township officers can come and interact with our entrepreneurs right here inside our eKasiLab. I know that the CEO is listening, and I would like to make that invitation. We need to be more robust about marketing of our eKasiLab solutions, CEO. Soweto, it has been said, is a large township. It's almost close to other countries. I think it's close by population to Lesotho, Swaziland. So it's not enough to have a small little hub in one place, one part of Soweto. We'll have to be more innovative in terms of how we get these 1.2 million people residing in Soweto to know about our services. And I think part of that will include things such as mobile exhibitions. There's lots of events that take place in this big township. If we have a mobile exhibition and we are at every point where these events are taking place, our people will know about our services. There's local media here at Soweto that we can also use. Soweto Television, I'm sure there are also radio stations. So I think we can do more to market our services and make sure that our people understand and have access to what we are doing. Therefore, let me say, MEC, we are pleased to have gathered here today at eKasiLabs Soweto, which is one of our first eKasiLabs facilities that was established in 2014. The value that eKasiLab brings to the township is certainly inspiring, as we have heard here today. I would like to thank the Gauteng Department of Economic Development under the stewardship of yourself, MEC Pakstau, as well as the Gauteng Growth and Development Agency under your stewardship, Mr. Ernest Mahlaule, the Gauteng Enterprise Propeller, TechnoServe, and all other stakeholders who have joined hands with us in our drive to support entrepreneurs to ensure that they are able to innovate and participate in the mainstream economy. We are always looking for partnership opportunities that can assist our entrepreneurs with access to the market opportunities that are available. I would like to thank the participating entrepreneurs, all of you, and those who were here asking questions, who have eagerly pitched their businesses, including through the exhibition that is set up here. This has given us insight and access to your products and services. I hope this session benefited you and encouraged you to continue with your entrepreneurship journey with more vigor than ever before. To members of the media who are here present today and who have heeded our call, we appreciate your presence and look forward to future engagements such as this one, to ensure that you are informed and updated about the activities that entities such as the Innovation Hub are undertaking to uplift township entrepreneurs, as well as striving to build the Gauteng economy. I would also like to thank you, Program Director, Ms. Matsi Mudise, who I know you have given your time here as a board member of the Innovation Hub for doing a sterling job, as well as eKasiLabs and Marketing and Communications divisions of the Innovation Hub, and under the leadership of the Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Peter Hall. Thank you for your tireless efforts to make this event a success. Lastly, I would like to urge the private sector, municipalities, and other stakeholders to join hands with us to find sustainable ways to support important initiatives as this one. It is evident from the entrepreneurs today that township communities are a gold mine for young innovators and SMMEs. We need to join forces and cultivate this potential and build a rich and fruitful South African economy. Thank you once more, and thank you for joining us today. Diaribu.
There's going to be an opportunity for pictures, the MEC, the chair, the CEO, and our panelists. So if we could go outside. Are we going to have it here or outside? Right here. Okay, so if you could stay put.
So with our winnings from the gate competition, we designed 3 products, products that come with an emission reason. The first one is a toilet manufactured 100% from plastic, from start to finish, like our Y2B here, ideal for the class reading polo. And you sit down, you do your business, your flasher. Instead of water rushing into the system and you go into the basin, you simply wash your hands here, you look, it fills up. So we've converted a fresh water flushing toilet into a grey water flushing toilet now, improving hygiene. Also, should I wash my hands all over? So far, we've installed in 5 schools around Gauteng, Mamelodi, Centurion, and also Atteridgeville. So we are looking for more sites and more colored sites. We have a urinal for the males, whereby the user now will urinate, and instead of doing this and leaving, now they'll wash their hands and continue to do this and leave.
So this is the winners of our 10 township economy.
You contribute to get them installed to TIT?
Yes, yes.
Particularly on the infrastructure with
those are the type of markets that we are trying to go for. Mostly the pricing of the unit compared to purchasing a toilet and a basin and the plumbing. As we install our unit, we come out way cheaper and much more competitive. I mean, ideally, I'll for the pom, whereby with the basin you need a tap already that pushes the market to over 100 rands extra. With our unit, all units combined. This can come in plastic, and here we have a ceramic version, whereby advocate, I know your offices are fancy, but eKasiLabs, we can convert the systems, because they are currently plastic, into this system, and we close up all the bases and we start to save. So that's how we see that.
So this is one of the companies we see aggressively trying to market through our obviously making of GDP and helping as a good solution. Yes. No, this is
the human settlements.
Yes.
As a part of the whole housing. We take for granted as to why the developers buy the interest systems and the local solutions to deliver the innovation, sustainability.
The units are SAPS design, so in terms of design aspect, we are ready for the market. We have a pilot running for over 3 years now, no issues, no breakages, water saving of over 47% over the 3-year period. It's still going. So in terms of the stats or the product viability, I think we are ready for the market. The commercial space.
Are you connected to the guys from Pepsi?
No. To totally different. Yes, the Cape Town one, as when we researched on them, because we thought they were in the forefront. At first, they were importing the units from China, the kind of the zero, China, Japan, and USA, and similar technologies. So how we approach this was one, kids currently break toilets in schools because they don't like it. Maybe the white color is enough for them. So we went with the pinks, the limes, the yellow, and everywhere we have been stored the toilets, there are no breakages. And actually the taking care of the toilets has become more of their children's responsibility. And so far so good.
So yes, so now that's how the business started. It started with just the oil, and now we have the body butter and the hair butter as well. So our hair butter during the sun, because it's got shea butter on it and our oil. So we're actually trying to have to try and make them as natural as possible and stay away from chemicals. Like with our oil is 100% pure macadamia nut oil, and because now most of the macadamia are being exported, here in South Africa we are making use of macadamia nut. And us, instead of waiting for products to come, like the oil goes from here, the nuts goes from here, and they come back as a product which is expensive. We decided we will make it here in South Africa. The resources not very and this is what we're doing so far. We have other formulations. As soon as our business picks up, we'll be able to have our facial products, full hair products, like shampoos and things like that.
You understand that the innovation is also a problem with the asset
MEC, initially I started from 0 to 2 to 4,000 students. I have a distribution agreement and then they sell it informally to their own clients. We actually have helped us with the whole process and from actually the scratch when we were beginning to now that we are currently supplying pharmacies that we are also available online as well. Also at the shop of the retail we are also having a very great service that we are.
Thank you so much everybody and the MEC for indulging us. So welcome to eKasiLabs. So this is our hot desking infrastructure. This is where our entrepreneurs sit. Oh, okay, sure. So this is our hot desking infrastructure. This is where our entrepreneurs sit. This is a co-creation space. They exchange ideas. So it is fully Wi-Fi up so that our entrepreneurs are able to connect to the world, right? Part of our infrastructure offerings as well is access to boardrooms where they have access to those to professionalize their businesses. So this is where the ideas come to you. So we can also move over that side as well. So this is our co-track facility. So we have it's a skills development program where we have 20 young people that are graduates that are coming in and learning coding skills. The program has not started for the year, it's only geared up for next month. But this is where they sit, they learn how to code, and that is Musa, who's our co-track facilitator. Do you want to have a 5 minutes? No, okay. 30 seconds. 30 seconds, yes.
Okay, our company is MLab and we are the baby of the Innovation Hub. We teach students how to program, so in a period of 6 months. And then for the rest of the 4 months, they get to do real projects for entrepreneurs in our townships.
So that is how the two programs.
That's how the
interlink. Yes. All right. Last stop.
4IR.
So MEC, this is our FabLab facility. So this is where our entrepreneurs do their prototypes. This is where our entrepreneurs do their marketing and branding. And our FabLab facilities is run by the gentleman next to you, Mr. Tabu and Mahoba, who's prepared excellent gifts for you using these machines here. So Adway, you can take us through.
Also known as the eKasiLabs or Information Laboratory. So this is where we do augmented reality. We have printers for branding, we have 3D machines on the right for doing prototypes. We also have a laser card and engraver where you can do your homework products. I'll just show you the exhibition this side.
This way.
So these are some of the products. So it's not yet branded, it's going to come nice and clean. You can hang it on the wall, you can hang it anywhere. And then even the tombstone, if you want to do engraving on a tombstone, you also use the engraver. You're just going to switch it on and then you see how it works.
So this facility is also open for entrepreneurs to use if they want to develop their marketing material so that it helps them with their promotions.
So how do they access it?
So it works through a booking system for entrepreneurs, but then ad hoc we also have trainings for scholars and youth from the public so that they familiarize themselves with these type of machines.
So that is also offered to them at no cost?
At no cost. Everything there is at no cost.
So when you bring to this part, So you can do your key holders, your trays, your photo albums, your definition. And like as I said, you can also engrave on the phone. Plastic, FX glass.
So actually then use those computers to program and then the machine does the printing itself. Yes, yes. This is it, MEC. Thank you so much. No.